All right, welcome everybody. Bar's on. Hi, Chris, Barbara, Alan. Hi, Jacqueline. Do you all see my emails with the topics, or do you all just plan on coming every week? Some say yes.
It's my first time tonight. I'm trying to have a newbie to this group.
Oh, welcome.
So I saw it on Facebook.
Okay, we'll have to make this extra special just for you. Yes to both. Okay, good. All right, you good on your end, Freddie?
In about, I'll come out of the site now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all good. People don't care what we're talking about. Nick, they're straight, see you, hear you, and be hypnotised.
Okay.
I don't really care. As long as we're here, the bar's fine. She knows it's true.
We still got a lot of people coming in. All right, so we won't start quite yet, but we'll start a discussion here. So I want you to start thinking about what you would like to change about yourself. You know, the magic wand question. If you could wave a magic wand and change anything about yourself, no matter how many times you've tried in the past, what would that be? Because tonight I'm going to go over one of my probably my all-time favorite protocol to help you redesign yourself, to help you create yourself out of your own imagination at a subconscious level. So that's what we're going to do tonight. So if you could leave a comment, you can answer as we're still letting people in. If you could change one thing about yourself, or maybe a few things, what would you change?
I'll start. I'd like to be taller and have a lot more hair. Is that doable?
Yes, absolutely. Anything's possible, Freddie.
Good. I might.
So you can think about this to yourself. You can talk out loud, but what would you change? If you could redesign yourself as if your past didn't matter, your cultural conditioning didn't matter, what would you change? Who would you become? Gail wants to teleport. Well, we're talking to each other from across the world, so we're almost there, right? Okay, so today we're going to go over what I call the logical levels protocol, and it's based on Robert Dilts' work, which you can get into a little bit more. But essentially how it works is, am I lagging a little bit, or am I coming through clear? Just a little? Let me see, what can I... Let me close out some stuff here before we go too deep. Okay. So there's the way our mind and language works is there's categories and hierarchies. And these are considered the logical levels. So I want you to think about, there's a category called things. And then within those things, there's a category called tools. And then within that, there's a category called hammers. And then within that, there's a category of all the different types of hammers, right? There's sledgehammers, demolition hammers, claw hammers. There's all these mallets, right? There's all these different categories. And so it's like that with our personality. We have different categories and different logical levels where we can make change. And so that's what we're going to go through tonight, is all of these different levels, all of these different hierarchies of our personality that we can change and design. And so I talk a lot about mental rehearsal and the power to program the subconscious mind through mental rehearsal. Well, that's what we're going to do on every level, on every one of these logical levels. So the logical levels start like this. And at the base level, each level above it affects the level below it. So I'll start to explain it and we'll get into it. I'll answer any questions before we do the process here. So at the base level is the environment. And many people in this world are programmed and reactive to their environment. They don't have control over it. So that means if they're out with friends and their friends are smoking, the likelihood that they smoke is pretty high because they're just following along with what their environment is. Now, the level above that is our behavior. And when we can start to control our behavior, we start to shape our environment. And at the level of behavior, the level above that then is our capabilities. So as our capabilities expand, our behaviors start to expand because we're capable of more things. We can do more things. So we have the environment, our behaviors, our capabilities, and then the level above that is our values and beliefs. And once you start to change your values and beliefs, your capabilities can change instantly, your behaviors can change instantly, and then you also have even more control over your environment. How are we doing so far? The level above our, and we'll give you some more details, but the level above our values and beliefs is what we call the identity. Your subconscious mind is always working to maintain your identity. It is always working to remain consistent with who you believe yourself to be at the identity level. So if you shift your identity, your values and beliefs must change, your capabilities must change, your behaviors must change, and as a reflection of that, your environment will also change. The world around you will change. And of course, there's one level above the identities because whatever you think you are, you're always more than that. You're never just your identity. And people get lost in this where they create an identity for themselves and they think that's what they are. If you've ever seen somebody who gets fired from their job and they're just absolutely devastated, it's because their job has become who they believe themselves to be. And now they're having an identity crisis. Or this is very common in athletes who work their whole lives to win a gold medal and they get a silver medal and their identity is just shattered into pieces and they're completely lost because they don't know that there's a level above the identity. And this is however you identify spiritually. So I believe that we are a soul having a physical experience. We're a soul that takes on these different identities to get different experiences, but we're always more than just our identity. We're always more than we think we are. In fact, you can't even perceive how grand you actually are. It's beyond your level of perception. So there's this level above that. And if you can change at the identity level, everything below that will change. And once you realize you're this spiritual being who can create anything out of your imagination, then you can change your identity in a moment. So think about someone that's a smoker. Many of you I know are coaches or hypnotists, and you may work with smokers or someone who wants to change their behavior. If you work with them at the behavior level, but you don't change the identity, what are your odds of success going to be? Pretty low, right? Or what if you change the identity, but they're still in the environment with a bunch of smokers? The odds are they're much better, but it's still going to be tempting for them to fall back into the old patterns, right? So we want to change at every level into that new identity so that you can be the person that you design and not the person that you are conditioned to be. Most of our lives, we're living these conditioned responses. So this process we're going to go through today is I'm going to have you experience at every level, starting from the environment, working all the way up through identity and your spiritual aspect. And then we're going to go right back down from the spiritual aspect into your environment. And you're going to design yourself, not logically, not with what makes sense, but what you really want, who you really want to be. So this could be, you could be more generous. You could have new and different habits. You could be more confident in certain situations. You could be a better performer in one area. If you weren't a typer before like Blaine and now you are, you can create that identity as being good at typing or good at music, good at writing, whatever you want to be. And we're going to plug that into every single level. We're going to experience and rehearse that. And you're going to feel your energy shift through all these levels. Is there any questions so far? Have any of you ever experienced trying to change at one level, but not changing at every level and noticing that it didn't work? I see a couple hands go up. I think we've all been there, right? So this process is really meant to support, every level supports every other level. And then you're going to start to feel like just that type of person who's capable, who has these values and beliefs, who has this identity. And at the end of this, you're gonna be tuned into the vibration. You're gonna be tuned into the frequency of that person. Your thoughts, your feelings, your actions will all reflect your new state of being. Is that exciting? Does that sound good? All right, so here's one more thing before we do this process. Our peripheral nervous system tends to place things. I don't know if any of you have ever heard this, but sometimes people will talk about a problem and they'll put their hand up here, or they may put their hand on their chest when they talk about something important to them. So when we identify with them, we tend to speak with our hands closer to our bodies. So when something's near and dear to our heart, it's probably part of our identity. And so as we go through this experience, with each level, you're going to feel a stronger vibration, a stronger energy that moves from the outward in, moves out to the inside. And then we're going to just go from the inward back out. So you're going to experience this, like, as we go to the identity and the spiritual level, it should be an even stronger, deeper trance, more profound experience. And then we'll go back out to the environment. Any questions before we get started here? Is everybody kind of clear on what they want and who they're becoming and what they want to use this for? Freddie, I don't think you should change your height or your hair. I like you just the way you are.
All right, I just jumped on because I couldn't hear it in the car. So what was the gist?
Okay, Allison,
The clip notes?
do you remember in the Metamorphosis program we did a few years ago, the logical levels process? Where you go through you design your environment, your behaviors, your capabilities, your values about the person you're becoming. I know you've done this before, so you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see if there's any questions in the chat here. Alan says, I'm working on persistence. I drift too easily. Well, Alan, we do have a couple sessions we've done on persistence. So if you go back into the library, you might find those. But persistence is a great one. So we'll start here in just a moment. But I believe personally, and this is probably a whole other call, but I think we're here on this earth to develop virtues. I think all signs point to us going through challenges and struggles and doubts in order to develop virtues. Persistence, generosity, compassion, empathy, forgiveness, determination, right? And as we go through these hardships in our life, we come out the other side with more virtues. And so this is a process where you can practice having a virtue that you want to have. Whether that's discipline or persistence, whatever that virtue is, you can become that type of person who has that type of virtue. Just by mentally experiencing it and letting your subconscious know that that's what you want it to do. That's who you want to be. That's what you want to experience.
So Nick, can I ask the question, just in case anyone else is thinking this question? If we change our personality, what happens to the people around us who love us because of our personality?
That's a good question.
Can those relationships be disrupted if we change who we are?
Yes. So most of our relationships, like a lot of our relationships, kind of hold us in place vibrationally. Our performance level are held in place by other people's expectations and how they treat us without us even realizing it. So what happens is over our lifetimes, we develop levels of rapport with people. And rapport is just like this energetic syncing up. And what we're going to do here is you're going to change your vibration. You're going to change your energy. You're going to change the signal that you send out to the world. And if someone isn't consistent with that anymore, they're not an energetic match, it can lead to drifting apart. People can just disappear from your life. It can definitely change relationships. And it can also strengthen relationships with the type of people who have the traits that you're installing. So it definitely, when you change, when you're vibrationally changing, the world around you changes. And sometimes people aren't going to like that. And so you may have to come back to this process a few times and keep strengthening it and keep stepping back into that new self, and your world around you will change. Some people in your life may change with you. Does that answer your question, Freddie?
Yeah, I mean, I've experienced, when I'm working with people and when I first started working, then I would find that, you know, you deal with a problem for a person they lived with for a long time. And I think the question then is to most people is, what else am I living with? What other situation I'm living in that no longer serve me or suit me, that they put up with, you know, when they overcome a drug problem, or overcome a rational fear. And so years ago, I was concerned about that. But I think as therapists, we can only deal with the person in front of us and empower the person in front of us. What they do with that empowerment is their choice. They're all adults, aren't they? But that was the question. You know, if we change our personality, if we decide, you know, that's the personality trait that I want to change, my question was, what happens to those people who are drawn to us because of that personality trait? So that was the question. So you answered it. Thanks.
I used your arrow technique when we were in Las Vegas last year on someone who had chronic neck and shoulder pain. And as soon as I wiped it out, she went home and ended her relationship because she saw very clearly from a new vibrational level that her relationship was causing her those symptoms. And it was like, once that shifted, it was over, and she went a whole different way. And I couldn't have known that in advance, you know, but things like that can happen when you make these changes. So if you want to stay the same, if you want to stay the way you are, that's totally fine. We'll see you next week. But if you're ready to, even if it's small, if you're ready to change something about yourself, we're gonna get started here. Any questions? Anything else before we start? All right, great. You can start to get comfortable and get situated. I'm going to do a little energy flow type of induction meditation before the process, just to get your antenna tuned, to get you calibrated to making some energetic shifts. As you get situated, just have a clear idea in your mind of what you want to experience, what you want to become, what you're ready to let go of. And you can close your eyes and continue to get situated and get comfortable as you focus completely on your breath. The feeling of the air moving through your nostrils into the depths of your lungs, your blood pumping oxygen through every muscle, every fiber. Continuing to feel your lungs expand and contract. Connecting with every part of you. And as you continue to relax with every breath, imagine a cord of energy running from your root chakra down into the center of the earth, like a grounding wire, connecting you to the resonance, that energy field of this beautiful planet we're spinning on. And as you feel that energy moving up through your feet, through your tailbone, through your spine, imagine it flowing from the center of the earth all the way out through the top of your head. And then imagine breathing in that divine energy through the top of your head and back down to the center of the earth. Feel that energy flowing through your crown chakra, down through your root, all the way back into the center of the earth. Flowing in both directions, up from the earth, through the top of your head, and back down. You may feel your body expanding relaxing with every breath. And put your attention on that root chakra at the base of your spine. And just bring your awareness and feel the space and the energy around that first energy center. And just notice any tension. Notice the flow of energy expanding. And become aware of the space around your hips, your legs, getting stronger. As you feel that energy move up into your sacral chakra, just below your belly button. And put your awareness right in the center of that energy center. And just notice it. Feel it expanding, feel that energy moving up your spine. Feeling the texture of the space around those first two energy centers. As you continue to connect with that energy body, moving your awareness up into your solar plexus. The seat of the identity, the energy center of power and control, and feel the space around that energy center. And feel the energy flowing in and around you, expanding up into your heart center. Feeling your heart expanding. Think about the people that you love. Think about the things that you're grateful for. Think about something you love and appreciate about yourself. And feel your energy body continue to expand from the base of your spine up through your heart. Almost like a glowing ball around you. Into your throat. Feel the energy flowing as you notice your tongue and your throat relaxing completely. Feeling the skin around your neck and the texture of space around your entire body and the feeling of that space. And move your awareness now into the pineal gland, that third eye. If you draw a line between your two ears, you'll find it. Just rest your attention, your awareness in the middle of your head. Feel that expanding. Feel the space and the energy around that center. And finally, notice the feeling of your crown chakra at the top of your head. Feel it expanding and opening as energy flows from the base of your spine all the way up your spine. And imagine feeling the space around your entire body all at once. And as you do, begin to picture the environment that you want to be in, that the ideal version of you lives in. Maybe it's your house, maybe it's where you vacation. Put yourself in that environment. Now that you've made it, you've become everything you're destined to become. What is your environment like? Who's there with you? Notice the sights and the sounds and the feelings. Maybe even smells or tastes of this environment. And how do you behave in this environment? What are your new behaviors? And you can rehearse them in your head, live them, feel them. Maybe it's new habits, new ways of being, new ways of interacting. You already know how easy it is to change a behavior. And just tell your subconscious mind how you want it to behave. And as this type of person who behaves this way, notice what you're capable of now. What are your capabilities? What seems easy and effortless to you that was once just a dream? And as this type of person in this type of environment, with these behaviors and capabilities, what are your values? What's important to you? What do you value the most? And what are your beliefs? What are the beliefs that have led to your newfound success, your newfound fulfillment? As this type of person, what must you believe to have these values, these capabilities, and these behaviors? And as this type of person, in this type of environment, with these behaviors, these capabilities, these values and beliefs, what is your identity? Who are you? What type of person are you now? Get a sense of that. What does it feel like to be this type of person now? Notice how good it feels. Notice how much fun it is to have these values and beliefs, these capabilities, this identity. And feel that the frequency, the vibration of this identity moving through every cell, every part of you. Because your subconscious mind knows now that you are just this type of person. And now imagine getting a complete perspective on your entire being, knowing that you are always more than your identity. You are always more than you can even imagine. And connect with that higher spiritual part of you, the complete part of you. With the perspective that you're always more than you can ever imagine. And at this level, it's easy to change any part of you, isn't it? And you may notice a feeling of expansion or unconditional joy. And as this part of you, there's nothing to do, there's nowhere to go. You've already made it. And get a sense of the completeness and the wholeness that you already are. Because in a moment, this boundless, joyful spirit is going to go back through the logical levels to have the experience of the identity and the behaviors and the beliefs. But you will always remember that you are so much more than any of that. Now go back down through the identity level and experience being this type of person. Who are you now? And get a sense of having this new identity. That's right, I can see some of your smiles. How much fun is it? How good does it feel to be this type of person so effortlessly, so joyfully? And as this type of person, what do you value? And what do you believe? What must you believe now to have this identity? Maybe it's a belief that you're persistent, where you can learn quickly and easily, that you're capable of anything. You're abundant, you're confident, you're generous. And as this type of person with these values and these beliefs, what are you capable of? What are you capable of now that you weren't previously? And imagine yourself living these capabilities. What does it feel like to type quickly or speak confidently? To be a great coach or hypnotist? To be able to sell? And as someone with these capabilities, what are your behaviors like? What do you do on a daily basis as this type of person? And imagine those behaviors. Imagine living those behaviors every day, now. And as this limitless spiritual being, experiencing this identity with these values and beliefs, with these capabilities and these behaviors, what is your environment like? Who do you surround yourself with? Where do you go? And take a moment and memorize this feeling like a frequency. Like tuning into a radio station. Your new identity is this frequency, and feel it on a cellular level. Let your subconscious mind lock onto this frequency through every part of your being, knowing that you're capable of change, of growth, of becoming anything you want to become. And just for another moment, notice how good it feels. And do a quick scan through your energy centers, starting from the base of your spine and working up, and notice the changes. Notice the different feelings from each energy center. Notice the texture of the energy that surrounds your body, how different it feels. That's right. In a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 5. With each number, you will lock in this frequency. And in the next days or weeks or months, you may have a moment when you realize you've stepped into a new identity altogether, a new way of being with new skills, new capabilities, and new values and beliefs that empower you and move you forward in life. 1, feeling that energy flowing through every one of those energy centers. 2 times stronger, 3 times more profound. To have this capability for the rest of your life, feeling into your fingers and your toes, coming back into your breath, feeling energized, feeling strong, feeling confident at 5, eyes opening, to a new way of being, a new way of seeing the world. I saw quite a few of you with pretty big smiles on your faces as we were doing that. I did this last year at HypnoThoughts, and someone in the back was in the back, like pumping their fist. They were so excited. All right. Well, I'd love to hear from any of you.
That just felt electric, Nick. Thank you so, so much. I felt my heart go. Amazing. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thanks for sharing. Did anyone else have an experience they want to share?
I had 3 downloads of what I need to do, my actions. And they were just so simple, and it like just came to me, and I was just like, yeah, that's it. Because I've been asking for the how of like, how can I do this? How can I make this happen? How? And I just received 3 insights that were so profound. Thank you.
That's great. So I call it the tyranny of how. Most of us are stuck somewhere and we're trying to figure out how to go to the next level, but that's not how it works. You got to go to the next level in your mind, in your vibration, and then the how just comes to you like it's the most natural thing in the world. And I think you just experienced that. So thanks for sharing.
Yeah, I've been experiencing the how externally and internally. So it's been a combination for me, and it's been so good ever since I've just been proactively asking for that how.
Good.
And leaving that open-ended. Yeah.
Good. That's great.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
My
That was
pleasure.
great.
I think it starts with the why. So why do you want to change? And if you find and step into, like Nick took us into that experience today, where you're feeling how much fun is it, then you open yourself up to the how. Because as I've said before, as humans, we're geared towards pleasure, we're geared towards feeling good. And if we can feel into the why do I want to do this now? Why do I want to change? And discover how good that feels by stepping into that future self, then how it's come. And I'm so pleased for you, Samantha. You know, now it's about actioning the hows. So I know how, but you've got to action it. That's
I am.
good.
That my virtue was determination, complete follow through.
Good.
Thank you.
It's a good one to have.
Thank you.
Blaine, you had a
Meeting in weeks, that's going to be great as well. Coming to Hypno Thoughts Live, are you not?
So actually, I have to say no.
Ah.
But that's simply because I'm committed to that determination. It's essential.
Well, we're pleased for you. Pleased for
Thank you.
There'll
Thank
be
you.
another time.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
the word sacrifice. I think Bob Proctor shared this, is releasing something of a lower nature for something of a higher nature. So if you have to let something go like Hypno Thoughts, you know, you're doing it for a purpose, for a goal. And this is what happens in this process is we have to sacrifice old behaviors, old ways of being. Those parts of us have to essentially die and fade away, almost like a caterpillar in a chrysalis that completely melts and dissolves before it becomes the butterfly. And so this is part of that process is you kind of go into like, you should have a sense of your body melting, the energy barriers melting, and then reforming into a new way of being through that process. And you can see if, you know, once you change the beliefs and the values, your capabilities start to change, and you use your determination and you get a new capability. And then once you have a new capability, you behave differently. Yeah, good.
Did anyone, for me, I don't know if anyone else, but for me, as soon as I thought, like, that's what I'm going to change, the voice went, but what will happen if you change that? Did anyone else have that kind of arguing bit of you, which went, but, and then you override it? So yeah, I mean, I think that's that voice that wants to keep us as we are, because we think that personality trait is an advantage for us in some way. You know, we think it's either protecting us or it's giving us an advantage. Even though we know, well, for me anyway, I know that that's it's not very much about me, I want to change. And I was suggesting when I was talking about the physical aspect. But from a personal aspect, probably because I'm so old, I'm settled into myself. But there's one thing that I think, and it's not even something I've not liked about myself. It's just that as I've evolved, that no longer suits who I am at my age. So that's the thing I need to change now, if you like. And that was when that voice went, but what happened? So I thought, wonder if anyone else had that but voice in their head when you first decided. Diana said she's got her hand up.
A few heads shaking. Freddie, one thing I've come to realize is most of the time people don't change because they don't think it's safe to. It's stepping into the unknown, right? If you have new capabilities or new values or beliefs, it's dangerous to the subconscious mind. And so the way we get around that is through this process, we just rehearse the new way of being. We go there and we experience it in our mind because the subconscious doesn't know the difference between what's real and imagined. And you're sort of charting new territory in a way. And you go, oh, look, it's actually safe for me to be confident. It's safe for me to be a good typer. It's safe for me to speak in front of people. And so that's what these mental rehearsal repetitions get us, is the old parts of us who were holding us back because they didn't feel safe. They didn't know what was in the unknown. Now they get to experience it and they say, oh, you know what? If we go sign up to speak at this thing and we mentally rehearse it, oh, now it's safe. We've been there in our mind. We can go do that confidently instead of trying to hold you back. And so this is why I think, you guys know me, I talk about mental rehearsal a lot. It's telling all the parts of ourselves, it's safe. We're walking through it over and over. Oh yeah, I've been here before. And you all should have the experience where it just comes to your head that you go, oh, of course, I'm just that type of person now. The thing that, you know, what held you back before, now you do it effortlessly. And the thought in your head goes, well, yeah, of course I do. Like, I'm just that type of person. And so that's kind of what this process set up for all of you. So
You can pretend to be anything and then become it. I think that's what he meant. If we do something, even if we don't feel it to begin with, if we continue to do it, pretend to be that, you'll become it. So if you act confident for a week, you continue to act confident, even if you're not feeling it, and you pretending to be confident, you'll become it. Because that becomes you eventually say, I'm just that kind of person. And so I think, you know, the mental rehearsal is what he meant when he said, you can pretend to be anything and then become it. And so we can act in a certain way. You know, put it in another way, we can act that person. We can act as if. And if we do it long enough, then we are that person, aren't we? So, you know, I'm glad you're driving the saying, I'm just that kind of person. I'm someone who types. You know, I'm someone who knows how. It's Matt's case. I've got that out. I'm that kind of person that will find the how to. You know, and when it becomes, as Nick said, when it becomes at an identity level, this is just who I am. You know, this is who I am. And I think when we're saying those words, because we say it for a lot of things, like, I am this, I am that. But when we often meet people at the I am level, I am a hypnotherapist, I am a chiropractor, I am a father, I'm a mother, I'm a sister. We meet people at that level. But when we are able to expand into those higher levels of values and purpose and those things, that every now and again, and it happens more often when you separate yourself from the I am, every now and again you'll meet somebody at the I level. You know, not just at eye level, but at the eye level. This is who, you know, my true self. And when that happens, that's a magical thing. That's a different connection between people. But to get there, you have to let go of the I am. And as Nick said, the environment or the behaviours or the things. You know, we live in a world where people judge us by our things. And until we're free of that level, we're not going to meet people and have that connection at the essence level. You know, the part that Nick says above the identity level. You know, you've heard me speak a bit often, the essence of who I am. And when we've done those little trips together, and I get you to get tripped up out of your body, out through the crown chakra, which Nick was talking about, and get to that space of the essence level, to recognise that you're not your body. You know, I jokingly said, you know, when Nick said, you know, the things you want to change, I said, I'd like to be taller and more hair. That is at that level of physicality. Once you get past that and realise you're not your body, as Nick said, whatever you think you are so much more than that. But to get that, you have to let go of the things that you identify with. Your car, your house. When I say to people, when I say to all my clients, when they come and see me with drugs or anything else that's killing them, I say, you know, I want you to understand your value, your true worth that goes beyond the car you drive, the house you live in, the clothes you wear, the job, your body. And it's quite difficult because we spend our whole life trying to gather those things to kind of shore up our identity, what we think we are. Once we're free of that, it's an awesome space to be in. But it's hard to stay there because we keep coming back to, you know, it's about my body, it's about how I look, it's about all these things that really are not us. Won't make any sense here. But it's more about letting go than gathering.
yes.
To get to that space. And then you can say, how do I want to be in this life? How do I want to move through this life? And what kind of person do I want to be? And then we can change it at that level, at all of those logical levels that Nick's talking about. But to do it, we have to let go of stuff rather than gather stuff. And that's quite tough, but we can all do it. And when we do it, then we enter that space where we are just being and not doing, if you understand.
Freddie, there's a quote I've said on a previous broadcast by Rudyard Kipling, and I'm going to do it from memory here. So we'll see if I get it. Beware of over concern for money or glory or fame, because one day you will meet a man who cares for none of these things, and then you will realize how poor you truly are. So I thought that was a good quote, because we all, if you meet someone who's just, they may or may not have those things, but they just don't care because it's not important. It's not the essence of who they are. And they're so connected with themselves and so unconditional in that acceptance and non-judgment of their position that they can experience joy all the time, regardless of those surface level things.
And it's nice to have things. It's nice to have beautiful things around us. It's nice to be in a nice environment. It's nice to be able to earn the money to do those things. But it's keeping ourselves in a space of understanding that no matter what we have, it's not who we are.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. It's not to stop you saying, that's a beautiful car, I'd like to have that car. That's a beautiful home, I'd like to have that home. Whatever it is, it's not to say, well, I'm not interested in those things, because it's nice to have beautiful things. But to keep ourselves in a position of knowing this is not who I am. I'm not my car. I'm not my house. I'm not the clothes I wear. And then you're in that space. And I love that quote by Rudyard Kipling. But also I love the quote from Ma Gump, Forrest Gump's mother. This is one of my favourite quotes. She said that a man only needs so much money to live on, and the rest is for showing off. I love that quote from Mark Gump. So, we can live and we can and enjoy our lives. It's not to say, we can't work towards having the things we enjoy, but it's always keeping ourselves in that space of it's not who I am. I'm not my body. You're not even your name, because that's given to you. Understand that. And it also separates you out. When you recognise that this higher level that Nick's talking about, at the spiritual level, that spiritual level, that essence level, you are ageless. Think back, if you think back to a memory in your life, 20 years ago, how old are you? Have you changed in your age? If you go out into the future, it's 20 years in the future, have you changed? No, you're exactly the same. At whatever age you are ageless, and you're not your body. And once we understand that, our life changes. So I've loved that tonight, Nick, and I have had a change. There was one little thing, as you can imagine, it's very different. I'm almost perfect. But I've changed, and if it wasn't the fact that I was so modest, I would be perfect. So I've changed that tonight, and now I'm going to be much more accepting of myself.
Well, good. Well, I hope all of you enjoyed that. We've got a couple exciting ones coming up in the next few weeks as well. And a couple recordings we're getting ready to release here soon. And yeah, any other comments before we sign off for the evening?
No.
All right.
Remember how brilliant you all are. You are the most incredible creation. Just remember that. You're already a whole being. You're already the most incredible creation.
Just sort of say thank you, Nick. Thank you, Freddie. It was enlightening.
Our pleasure, Diana.
And Nicholas, you managed to take Andrea to a space that I struggled with last weekend. She was zonked. She was gone into that world of found hypnosis. So,
Yeah, thanks, Nicholas.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thanks, Freddie.
great to see you all.
Oh, we're gonna do one on. We're gonna do one on money in a couple weeks. So, if any of you care about making a little money, telling your subconscious mind how to lock in an amount. That's in 2 weeks, and I don't even remember what next week is, Freddie, but I think I have it written down somewhere. So, all right, everybody, wonderful to see all of you, and see you next week.